Hey, welcome to our Friday FinTips episode with that guy over there. How you doing today?
Hey.
Yeah, I was not asking you. No, I'll play that guy today, like
What are you asking?
the grumpy guy. What are we talking about today? Don't waste any time, apparently. Got to get right to it, man.
Oh, is that what it is?
Got to get right to it.
All right. That's what we got to do then. You can't make it on $1 million. Can't retire on $1 million.
Can't?
Why you cannot retire on 1 million?
Those are tough problems to have, right?
Dinero.
There, you know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, in high school even, we would talk about like, man, get that $1 million, you know, and then just live it out. And interest rates at that point were 7 and 8% before going a little bit higher. And the thought was like, how can you not live on 70 grand a year? That would be awesome, you know? Yeah. And I'm sure we've all done that, right? But we want to kind of go over some of the data today for the $1 million and sort of squash your dream.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have retired on $1 million. Don't get me wrong on that.
Oh, less.
We see this on a consistent basis, or a lot less than $1 million. Ultimately, the people that are out there that are watching right this second say, oh, this is trash. First, give us a second. Let us break this down. It's not for everybody, but it will get you thinking. That's the ultimate goal with this one because yeah, you could retire.
You can make it happen.
This isn't a MythBusters kind of thing.
Yeah, my main focus is for people that are on the mission to get to $1 million retirement.
Oh, yeah.
9 times out of 10, those people want to retire early.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
So if that's in your brain, let's expand on it a little bit. Not that you can't do it, but if that's your only goal, just, you know, let's think about it a little bit further.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I've got multiple little talking points. I know we have a cool chart as well. Just some different tips to think through.
I just can't wait till the joke, man.
And man, I've got it. I've got a good one today. I've got a great joke here. All right. So one of the things is really just your overall expenses are going to determine how much you can actually retire on. Can you retire on $1 million? But to keep your expenses lower, if you're 60 years old at that point, you've got $1 million and your mortgage is paid for, all you have is your general expenses and everything else.
Yep.
But if
I'm
you're...
going to interrupt you here because this is, I'm already getting goosebumps. Go. Know your freaking expenses, right? It's one thing for us to go, you got to be mindful of your expenses in retirement. What are they? So many people have no idea. The other day with me and Eric were talking and he just rattled off his expenses. He knew what they were. And it beat me for the most part. But
why are you going to say? I have 2 kids.
No, it beat me in terms of like
Daycare.
He knew the numbers more so than I did. You do spend more than me, but so nonetheless, he knew his expenses. So if he were to sit down with a planner, he could get really close. Just know your damn expenses.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Yeah, and that comes in with the mortgage though. The thing right this second is interest rates are super high. Potentially, you're buying a home, you're making changes. You can retire on $1 million and still have a mortgage, but you have to keep your expenses a lot lower. So we're going back to that expenses, because if you don't know your expenses, maybe they're extremely high, and you also have a mortgage on top of your general living expenses, it's going to be tight. Mm-hmm. Another one is really thinking through pre-tax. Are all the accounts pre-tax? This is going to depend on when you retire.
Oh, you called it, dude.
I said his phone.
He called it. He totally called it.
If your money is all pre-tax, then the thing is that, first of all, if you're retiring at 50, you're not able to access that money right this second. So you have that problem. The second thing is, if it's all pre-tax and you're retiring at, let's say, 59 and a half, that's fine, but that just means that you're going to have to pay taxes on $1 million. Well, let's just say that your general tax bracket is 20% on average. You don't have $1 million, you have $800,000. And so thinking through that, making sure that you're really looking at the differences there.
Yep. I have nothing to add to that. That was perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Yes,
Appreciate that.
That part was good.
Another one, kids still in school. Daycare, I just mentioned, are we talking about my expenses? Daycares, things like that.
In retirement, though?
And so you've got a lot of people who wait till later in life. Their kids are still in school. Maybe they're in high school. A lot of people look to
I can think of a few clients. Yeah, all right.
And how many of our clients now are really talking about helping their kids with college?
Every one of them.
Maybe they're in college and you're wanting to help.
Yep.
Well, if you're retired and you only have $1 million and you go and you say, hey, I really want to make sure they don't have any student debt. Well, then, that's a lot less money than $1 million because you're going to help them there.
Yeah, possibly taxable too, from back to his previous point, right? If you have to take money out pre-tax, to help them with college. Some of it you can get away with, but
I'm gonna save the meat and potatoes here for last, by the way. So if you're watching, we got this good chart that you made.
oh,
It's a
I thought you were
beautiful
talking about
chart.
the joke, man. I'm anxiously just sitting. I'm only here for the joke.
No, so another one here is really just living in a state with a high income tax. $1 million.
Yeah.
I already mentioned 20%. Well, now if you also have a high income tax and your state taxes your retirement dollars, that adds that much more to it.
It used to be a big deal too to tell somebody, you know, oh, you're in California. Hey, when you retire, maybe go to a different state. It doesn't seem like such a big deal these days. A lot of people just volunteer that when I'm talking to them. Like, I'm in California or wherever, New York or something, and I'm retiring in Florida, period. I'm leaving. In fact, I'm going to leave 6 months ahead of time so that I can get that resident status. And it's like, oh, normally it would be like pulling teeth. Like, you can't retire if you don't move. Now people say, forget it. I just go to a different state.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
People are ready to go. People are heading out of these high income tax states.
That's good.
Retiring too early. This is where we're going to go ahead and go into the chart, because the idea here is with this. You made this chart, so you want to break it down at all, or you want me to break it down a little bit?
Well, I just tried to.
You're a good chart maker, by the way.
Thank you, Cody. Cody really deserves all the credit. I learned from him. But I really wanted to break it down just to show that there are two groups. On the left there, you've got 2000 to 2022, and that was basically just because I had just graduated high school in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
2000.
No round of applause. All right. So in the year 2000, we were talking about the $1 million. Well, in reality, if I were going to retire as of this year or last year, I needed $1.7 million. So I really should have been thinking like that. Now, the $1 million in the year 2000, of course, we know it doesn't buy what it today what it would have bought back then. That's the adjustment I wanted to make there. And then what Eric did, I'll let you do this part, was go forward using using the numbers that we could there. And,
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Was that based on actual?
Yeah. So it's projected inflation. If you're looking at projected inflation, I believe it was a 2.5 on that. And so you're looking at, in 10 years, $1 million is, actually going to be, you're going to need 1,280,000 to replace $1 million.
Yeah.
Same thing, 20 years. So if you're retiring, let's just say you retire at age 50, and then at age 70, the money that you have is not going to go near as far. And that's what really I think is the big home driver on this whole thing is just making sure that you realize that, yes, you can retire on $1 million, but the money is not going to go near as far today as it did 22 years ago. And it's definitely not going to go near as far today as it's not going to go near as far 22 years from now as it does today.
That's why in our planner for clients that we use there, we put that inflation in there so you can kind of control that, because we use 2.5% as the average inflation rate. Well, you may feel strongly that it's going to be higher. Currently, it's higher. I mean, what if it stays like this for a couple of years? That'll raise the average. So I like that that's kind of in there. Also, we're assuming that you're starting in 2023 with $1 million, not that you've worked up to it. So, for example, if you retire right now with $1 million, well, we have to factor in some growth there over the next 10 years. So it's not that scary of a number, but just know that, man, the Fed gets it wrong. We have this inflation. That number gets jacked up.
That's right. Hard landing coming in.
Well,
You said soft landing. I said hard landing. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm hoping for a soft landing. All right. So last night, my daughter asked, "Can I have a bookmark?" And I burst into tears. She's 7 years old and still doesn't know my name. It's Eric.
That's the difference between me and you, because, they say you got to stay faithful, right, in your relationship. That's definitely it. Why they say, well, why have a hamburger when you got steak at home?
Right.
But when my steak's got a f***ing attitude.
Oh dear, where are we going with this, Cody?
That's the difference.
Cody, when do we just cut this at the end of the whole joke? Like, my joke is done. All right, have a good rest of your day. Oh gosh.
Is that joke staying in?
No, that's a horrible idea. That's a horrible idea. That's just saying it as though like you're okay with infidelity. That's a horrible joke.
No, I'm saying you gotta stay faithful, but
But when she has an attitude, you'll go for the hamburger.
No, I'm just saying it makes it hard when she got attitude.
Cody,
See the dichotomy
end on my
there?
joke. And then you could even put a black mark and say, Dustin tried his jab at the jokes, but NSFW, no dad jokes for Dustin.